evening, Trinidad and Tobago. Welcome to another edition of Scoreboard here on ACTN. It's always a pleasure every Tuesday evening between the hours of 8 to 9, where I come into your home and I bring something that is relevant in sport in Trinidad and Tobago. Before I go into my guests, let me just say it's always a pleasure to acknowledge my supporters and those who from time to time will email me or send me some, good word, and I always like to give credit where credit is due. So my supporters, good day, and I hope you all are being safe and follow protocols, because next week Tuesday and the following Tuesday and the following Tuesday, I want all in front of the television looking at me. Tonight we're going to be talking tennis. We haven't done tennis in maybe quite a while. I think the last time I did tennis here was table tennis, but we're going to be doing the different tennis, that's lawn tennis. And I have on set two members of the San Fernando Tennis Club. And this club has history because this club has been around since 1961. Let me first of all introduce the ladies first. Miss Andrea Douglas, the PRO. Andrea, it's a pleasure. Welcome to Scoreboard.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here as well.
And we have the General Secretary and Treasurer, Mr. Patrick Charles. Mr. Charles, it's a pleasure.
A pleasure. The pleasure is mine, yes.
And let me say before I go for, let me say, Clayton Clark, thanks for the connection. Okay. This club has been in existence since 1961. So I wouldn't start with you, Andrea, because you is a baby. I'll start with Mr. Charles because looking at the little grays, I know they are a little longer than you. Tell us about the club. The club was formed way back in August of 1961.
Yeah.
Right? Let's take me through the journey. Founding members, were you there from day one?
No, I'll answer your second question first. I wasn't there from day one. However, the club was indeed formed in 1961, and prominent people involved in the club at the time, in its formation, would have been John Allen, now deceased.
Well, who don't know John Allen involved in Trinidad? Eh?
Good, he has been involved in almost every sport.
Everything, and once you talk Skinner Park, John Allen.
Skinner Park was John Allen.
Yeah.
And of course, Rita Andrews, who is now 90 and who is still alive, was among the founding members of the club.
Right.
Over the years, the club eventually was granted control of Skinner Park, well, and not as a gift to the club, but as a gift to the sporting communities who use the park. So similarly, cycling was given a home at the park, basketball was given a home at the park, and netball was given a home at the park.
Yeah.
Because all of these sports function at the park, but had no home of their own.
Okay.
So I think that was done during the term of Mayor Ferreira.
Jared Ferreira.
Yes.
Jared Ferreira, right? That is in 1996, 2003.
That is correct.
Yeah, that was his term. So it's during that time,
You're doing homework.
these sports were given a home at Skinner Park.
Yeah.
And of course, Skinner Park has gone on through the San Fernando Tennis Club, of course, to produce national players in the like of Lennox Francis, who played for Trinidad internationally, and a host of other players. Among the women, we had some really dominant female players. Rita Andrews herself, Sheila Wiggins, now deceased, Cynthia Craigwell, who is still alive and is in Trinidad, although she doesn't reside here, but she is here now.
Okay.
Sylvia Clark Baker, now deceased. They were really among the top female players in their era. Yeah. We learned only last week that Glenda Moraine played at SFTC. I'm not sure that she was a member of the club.
What she played.
So we're asking the public to help us to reach her. Yeah, because what we are attempting to do in this, our 60th anniversary year, is to really chronicle the history of the club. For two reasons. To acknowledge the work of the persons I just described. In fact, my apologies to my good friend Trevor Macwan, who at 76, I think, is the oldest active player in the club.
Okay.
Still comes out every weekend
All right.
and plays. And, well, of course, because he comes out and plays, he's alive, right? Trevor McCoy, you know, and so we want to acknowledge these people, and more than acknowledge them, we want to create a historical record
Right.
that the persons who follow us will have something to go on. We are not too sure about the accuracy of all that we put out, but we are putting it out based on what becomes available to us.
Right. Yeah.
That is true.
And our hope is that the people who follow us, because even as we speak of the 60th anniversary, the 75th anniversary of the club is around the corner.
Yes.
It's only 180 months away.
Yeah.
It's just 180 months
Yeah.
away. So we have to start thinking 75th anniversary, even as we are in the 60th.
Okay.
And therefore lay the groundwork for the people who come after us to have something to go on.
Okay.
I think I've said I'm hopeful, yes.
When did you join and were you a active player as well?
Yeah, I've been playing for a long time, maybe 25, 30 years.
But
if you saw me recreationally,
right, yeah.
if you saw me on the court, you will believe I started last week, right? But I've been playing for about 30 years.
Everybody can be a professional.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, but I've been active in the club only in the last 3 to 4 years.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Only in the last 3 to 4 years.
Okay. If I'm to ask, what are some of the, you could come in here too, because now that you are the PRO, your role is really to brand the Savannah Tennis Club and to really, sell to the public, right? What are some of the challenges that you all are facing presently, and how do you all intend to take the club to that upper level? Because as you said, you're looking at the 75th anniversary. You will want by the time that come around, you all have additional,
National junior champion is
things
the target.
like that.
Is
Yeah.
the target, yes.
I think one of the challenges is the players' interests. Because even before COVID, we struggled to get people to come and play on the court. You will have the regulars, the diehards, as you would say it, and we have our particular days that we would play tennis. And, and because we have a public court, because the club operates out of public courts too, so that you find that, slowly, year by year, you find there's less and less people coming to play tennis. And
what do you
trying
think?
to
What do you
understand
think is the reason
what's
for
the
that?
real Genesis. I really can't say. From my point of view, my love for tennis has only grown. And there's a frustrating part on my side in the sense that as I want to grow in the sport, you're not getting the other persons to grow with you, especially.
Who are not coming out, the young ones or the older ones? Because I know the young ones in sports today, they are reluctant. They rather stay home with their gadgets, right? But I don't know what the more senior ones will do. So when you look at those who not coming out,
but
is it the younger ones that you are looking for, or the middle age, or the mature,
But I think part of the challenge, if I may add to what Andre is saying, part of the challenge we face at Skinner Park is that there are only 2 courts. In tennis, only 4 persons can play
at any one time.
So you have that challenge. Then we have the challenge where we have restricted access to the park. And that is 6 to 10 on mornings and 4 to 7 on evenings. When you consider that in our membership of 70 plus persons, many of the persons are working adults.
Yes.
By the time they get from work, wherever they work, north, south, east or west, they probably only have an hour playing time. So that is a challenge, limited access to the court.
So what would you recommend?
Well, ideally, we would want the courts to go back to the original times, were open until 10 p.m. at night.
Okay.
Right? In addition to which, we have the challenge of lighting on the courts.
Yes.
Where one court, you can only play until about 6:30 because the lights are so bad that you just can't continue playing. So it means that from 6:30 to 7 in that last half hour, we only have one court available. So those things will act as disincentives for persons to come to the park. But in recognition of the fact that our club is made up primarily of mature persons like myself, we are on an aggressive drive to attract young people. But not only to attract and train them and coach them, but to develop them holistically. And we have a clear target. We have to produce the national junior champion out of the San Fernando Tennis Club. That is a clear mandate.
Okay.
We have to produce the national junior champion. Because I want to make the point that there are Naomi Osaka's and Serena Williams walking the streets of Trinidad and Tobago.
Exactly.
Really untapped potential. All these kids want is the opportunity and the guidance, you know, and the support. And we are gifted people physically.
Yeah.
Right? You watch them making cartwheels in the road. You know, they're just gifted. They never learned that anywhere. They can do it. So that our dream is to attract this younger generation to the club, and really is to replace us. So we are thinking succession planning.
So what I'm getting here is that you all are already planning to. Do you all have a vibrant youth membership right now at present?
No, we have the youth development.
We have you had asked earlier in terms of, you know, who are the main players in terms of whether the younger people.
Yeah.
So I play mostly with the senior ones, you know,
Right,
the ones who have been around, you know, for a good while, or those who are now learning the sport, because you have adults who are now coming in to learn the sport. So when you think younger one, like less than 20, you can number them on your fingers, you know, on your hand, you know, how much we have, right? But it doesn't take away from the joy or the excitement when it comes to playing and coming out at a particular time and looking forward to it. So when Pat indicated to you the times, it really slipped me. So it's so true, because I work in Port of Spain. And when I come down the road, it's like 5 or 6 o'clock, and I barely have an hour to sweat.
You make
but
tongue the thing by 5 o'clock?
No. But that means I'm required to leave work at 3.
Yeah,
so that's why I
yeah.
set aside, you know, because of my interests, I set aside time. Okay, there's Tuesdays and Thursdays I will come. Mondays and Wednesdays I will come. I will stay. I would leave work 3 and get down by the courts by 5 o'clock and spend at least 2 hours. But as before, when the time was short, when we had the 10 o'clock, my gosh, we were there till 10. Sometimes with graciousness by the security guards, we could go till 11, you know, and play tennis and then head home, right? So in terms of what Pat had earlier indicated, we want to try to reach the youths.
How are you all going to do that?
Right, so...
Because there's a challenge out there, as I was saying, with young people and playing sport rather than staying home and...
Right. No. So we're going old school. We're not going to reinvent the wheel. We need to get back to the schools. And as soon as this, you know, whilst we are here in this down period, we are working on, with our VP, Mr. Randy Bailey, you know, to see how we can get programs in, get the coaches in, volunteer, myself too, to probably start to do some sort of coaching so that, you know, we could volunteer and schedule our times so that we could dedicate towards, you know, making the sport available, or at least making it open for them. So that's what we want to start there in the schools. Well, once we get there, I believe that we can with the Youth Development Foundation. We want to start in the community home to us, closer to us.
But you all have sufficient coaches?
Yeah.
We have 4 certified coaches in the club.
Right.
Yeah.
So that means that you all can start. I think the best way to start this with these young people is in the schools and in rural communities.
Yeah.
Because in rural communities, young people have less distractions, right? Because they might not have internet and all these different things, right? And they might be even more disciplined. You know, I'm not saying that the young people in the city not disciplined. Don't get me wrong. But what I'm saying is that people in rural communities have less distractions.
Right. What we are proposing as our approach to the young people is to start with a summer camp, hopefully based in Pleasantville. And
Does Villanova Court?
no, there's a community center.
Oh, the car park?
Yeah, that big car park,
Yeah, you could put
where
that-
we
yeah.
can set up temporary courts,
Yeah,
coaching
yeah,
courts
yeah,
for
yeah.
beginners.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
We propose that for a couple reasons. We expect that maybe there'll be some kind of COVID restrictions still in place, even in August.
Yeah. Yeah.
So from a logistical point of view, we didn't want to go too far or too wide. We didn't want to, for example, have to move children.
Yeah.
We wanted an arrangement where a parent can bring his or her child so that the child isn't in a bus with 12 other children going from place to place. So we have no clue at this stage as to what the prevailing COVID restrictions would be at the end of August, that last week in August. But we are not deterred by that. We are doing the groundwork. We have established the Youth Development Foundation, which we will formally launch at the end of August. And that foundation's mandate, as I say, is to produce that national champion. But the way we are going to do it is through the holistic development of the children attached to the San Fernando Tennis Club. So we're already thinking a home lesson center, mentorship, big brother, big sister, anything at all that would supplement what parents are doing. Because one of the current social weaknesses that we face is that parents find themselves alone talking to their children and trying to instill values in them. In the times in which we grew up,
Yeah, the whole
the
neighborhood.
neighbor was part of it, your school teacher, the priest, the policeman living
Everybody
around.
everybody in the community could have beat
Anybody
you.
could have given you some licks,
Yeah,
pick
yeah,
a whip and
yeah.
send you home.
Yeah.
They see you loitering by the shop.
Even if both parents
Not speaking.
talking.
Yeah.
And you can't go home and say, because you're getting a double portion.
Miss
Yeah.
Grace beat you. Or,
Yeah.
Because your mother going to say, Miss Grace is mad.
Yeah,
She know what you
yeah,
just want
yeah.
beat you for nothing.
Yeah,
Must have been doing something.
Miss Grace, mad not to talk to me, but she mad not to beat you.
Yeah.
We got to take a break, right? When we come
Great,
back, I
yeah.
want to talk a bit about the success of the club, right? And how are you all going to build on that success? I know that you're looking for a junior champion, but you even said you have 4 coaches. And I wonder if those 4 coaches will be sufficient to do all what you all want to do. Viewers, we'll be right back after the short break. Welcome back, viewers. Welcome back to Scoreboard. If you're now joining us, we are talking tennis, lawn tennis. And I have with me Patrick Charles, the PRO, the General Secretary and Treasurer, and the PRO, Andrea Douglas, on set with us. Before the break, we were talking a bit about the whole, if the COVID restriction is eased up, the whole program. But before you mentioned that you have 4 certified coaches. Looking at what Andre is saying, the direction that you all want to take, what are some of the plans you have to put in place? Because I'm sure that if you go into communities and you're going to schools, you wouldn't want to burn out these 4 coaches. So are there proposed coaching courses, or are you going to use like former players who can look and discover talent and then pass on this talent to the certified coaches?
Okay. Yes, through our tennis association, Trinidad and Tobago, they do offer coaching at a fundamental level, and people like myself who are recreational club player can participate, so that therefore there will be supplements, so not necessarily the certified coaches. We could handle it at that level. That's why I said that it is quite possible that some of us would dedicate or volunteer our time. So at the beginning, you find that you'll be able to help the other children, while the certified coaches could say, oh, take a bird's eye view and look and say, okay, we see a few of them that could come out, and the others, well, you know, once they develop and once they like for the game has progressed, we could help out. So there is opportunities available. It's just that, you know, that people like myself will have to go and make ourselves available to get the coaching so that we could have the certification, so that we know what we're talking about and not just from experience, you know, to play. So that is what could help and will easily supplement, especially at the early stages.
Do you think this sport is a growing sport in Trinidad?
I would say yes, you know. Interestingly, a member of our club has just established the Akil Duke Tennis Academy.
Okay.
He is Point 14 based. He's the Big Onion, but he now lives in Point 14. And his academy is housed in Petrotrin, on one of the courts in Guaracara Park for the time being.
That's in Point-a-Pierre, here.
Yeah, right here in Point-a-Pierre. So that it means that through his work, there's the potential of creating a nursery of young players who may choose San Fernando Tennis Club as their club when they start to play club-level tennis. I believe that it is our duty to run a club and to create a club that attracts people. We can't be upset if somebody lives in South and prefers to play the tennis in Chaguanas or Rio Claro. It is our duty to create the kind of club environment where people want to be a part of the San Fernando Tennis Club.
And not to interject, Pat, just to give you an example, same Duke Academy, he's also a member of our club.
He's a member of our club.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, so it's not to say that you're forming this allegiance and... Right? So he's a product of our club.
It's an extension of what we do. The fact that Akil Duke was a national player, prominent national player, has started this academy. And tennis globally is one of the most expensive sports if you are going to produce an international level player. It would cost probably, in coaching costs and all the other associated costs, probably upwards of 100,000 US a year to take a 16-year-old to the level of international play.
What occurs that huge cost? What?
The coaching costs. And remember, the student who has gone on to one of those international academies, he or she is going to have a combination of court work and course work. They're still doing some academics, pursuing a program in physiology or something, but spending 6 hours of coaching on the court. And coaching, US dollar coaching, is $60 an hour or more at that level.
And traveling to competitions.
And traveling to competitions is an extremely expensive thing.
I thought cycling was the most expensive sport.
No. Tennis, the coaching to get to international level is extremely expensive. But the reward is great because Naomi Osaka, probably 22 older. 23. Is probably one of the richest athletes in the world already. So the reward from the investment is only one player you need to earn $300 million in foreign exchange for Trinidad and Tobago.
You don't need a team, that's one.
One player. The nice thing about tennis is that no old man like me has to sit down in a room to pick you. As we say in Trinidad, if you're good, you're good. Nobody had to pick you. If you're good, you're good. And you're going to make it. Because if not, Naomi Osaka was from Trinidad and somebody had to select her to play tennis, they would say she's too young. She should wait till she's 26. She's too young. Right? At 18 or 19, she had already won a major. You know, and that is the value of tennis. That if you dedicate yourself, if you commit yourself and you do the work, you will progress at your rate. Nobody has to pick you to succeed. You could succeed through your own.
You are the PRO, right? So how your job going? What sort of you're out there because you have to sell this club. You have to get, you know, things. How especially in this long time.
Well, it's a challenge. It's a challenge.
What are you all looking for presently?
Well, we want to continue to keep members engaged, you know, keep them excited about the sport. We have our Facebook that we try to update on a more or less a regular basis, on a monthly basis, you know, so that they can have access out there. We have our, you know, our social media group, whereby we're trying to keep players in tune. We also follow a lot the various championships, so there's a lot of commentary that is flowing through. So our members are, you know, are really more or less, you know, engaged, and we just want to make sure that they become more involved. So right now, my major focus also is on fundraising, right? We have our own virtual bingo that is coming up. So I hope, as I'm speaking now, that our members, as well as their well-wishers, you know, by extension, will come on and support us July the 4th, you know, for our virtual bingo, whereby we try to raise some funds. So in anticipation, when we do go back out, you know, we're talking about, you know, maintaining the courts, fixing the net, you know, cleaning the courts, you know, all those things could come into place so that will make the space, you know, more enjoyable for our members.
But if I'm to ask you now, what is needed, like, now? What's your most basic need right now? Besides not being able to play tennis, but what does the club need right now?
What does the club need right now? Patrick could help me with that, because...
Well, 2 more courts. To start with. We want
I thought,
but we love doubles play, not singles play.
I thought I say money, but like only have plenty money.
But I spoke about the money, but you told me something, asking something else.
Currently, we are doing a newsletter. We have done the May-June issue. The June-July issue should come out tomorrow. We are going to follow up with a July-August issue. In August, we are going to produce an electronic magazine. Of course, based on the costs associated with producing the magazine, we are still exploring whether we can have a hybrid, have the electronic version and have a hard copy printed version, which we hope to make available to all the regional corporations, to the city corporation, the National Archives, to NALIS, and hopefully every secondary school. How are we going to do that? We are now registering our club with the Ministry of Sport. We were never formally registered with them.
Going to ask you that, yeah.
We are now registering with them. And the second thing we are doing, we are hoping, and I'm saying this publicly, not to corner the ministry, but we hope to approach them for a grant, what is called grant funding, that would help us to meet some of these larger costs that are outside our scope.
Right.
As, you know, a little fundraising, as Andrea mentioned, the bingo we have planned for Sunday coming. The coaching, the long-term development of kids. But back to your question, what do we need? The city of San Fernando, with 250,000 people, need 8 tennis courts. Minimum.
Yeah.
We need 8.
Yeah.
We have 1.5 right now.
But have you all looked at a site where, you know, this could be done?
We have seen some places in San Fernando and the environs where it can be done. I wouldn't mention them. Politically, I wouldn't mention those places. But we have seen some sites where we believe a proper world-class tennis facility can be set up. And we are actually pursuing an initiative in that regard.
Yeah, because Port of Spain have the...
they have the National Tennis Racket Center in Tacarigua.
But that's in Tacarigua.
In Tacarigua.
So right? And we go back to the same thing.
Yeah.
Rural communities can't travel up there.
Yeah, yeah.
And you have to make appointment to play there, right?
The commute.
Actually, that's for tournaments.
Well, no, it's available to clubs.
It's available to clubs.
Yeah, open.
Yeah.
Right? But
it's something that you have to pay to use. Too.
Yeah.
This is one of the public, you know, the public one.
Yeah, what we need is
out,
some public courts in San Fernando.
Yeah.
We
And
need
from
some
there,
public
we
courts.
can get the...
A junior champion.
Yes,
Yeah.
because interestingly, San Fernando Tennis Club used to provide introductory tennis training to all the primary schools in the catchment area. Government school and boys RC and St. Gabriel's.
That's still going on, or it's...
Well, it stopped in the last year and a half because of COVID.
Right.
Right?
But it has been going on before.
Yeah, that has been going on. Yeah,
Right.
that has been going on for a very long time. Asja, Modsec, those are the two schools that virtually
So that's why you're
joined.
sure you're going to get a junior champion.
Yeah. We know. We know for certain. And you see, if we keep our eye on the target, right? The target is fixed. And I always I don't know anything about steel band, but I like to big up the steel band movement.
Yeah.
There are two things about the steel band movement that I admire. Whether you're sponsored or unsponsored, when they fix the date for Panorama, you better be ready.
Yes.
They're not changing that date.
Yeah.
You better be ready. And we are too quick to change the dates. But the other thing that we are also guilty of in Trinidad is not acknowledging how quickly time goes by.
So true.
Right? I went to primary school 60-something years ago. It feeling like yesterday. I remember all the mango I used to pick and
So what school you went to?
Boys RC on the promenade.
The old board building?
The wooden building.
On Mr. Helenese?
No, Adolphus Gilbert Phillip was the principal at the time.
Okay.
You know, but the thing is, and that's why I keep talking about the 15 years, because the 15 years are only 180 months. And when next one go on,
no, it's true because
it's 179.
Yeah, look,
so the time,
July holiday is coming up.
The time doesn't wait on you.
Yeah.
The time goes by. And that is why during this pandemic and during the lockdown, as a club, we have been able to do so much because we acknowledge that the lockdown hopefully will come to an end. And the question is, what will we have to show for it when it comes to an end?
And you don't want to get, when the lockdown is up, gents,
then you're trying to
all over.
start the engine and you're looking for a booster cable to get started.
Yeah.
No. Now, our engine has been running. We have been running and we have been doing more during the lockdown, although we can't play.
Yeah.
But we have been doing more. We have probably had, 30 meetings of different committees during the time. We have not stopped. We have not stopped. And
I just
that is
want to
our
add one
focus.
more, because I remember you had asked me about, what is that we need. As a club, we don't have a clubhouse. So that is a long-term goal of us, to have as well, so that we can have both tennis and a social. Because when you play on days when you're waiting, when the rain fall, or just before, you're like, okay,
you can't sit down.
You have to run, exactly. Yeah. So whereas we could sit down, wait it out, go on the court and dry it, and then we go again. So there are mornings.
And you want a place where, you could
socialize.
Put up your past players' pictures.
Right, trophy displays,
because I'm sure you have all these things. Where you have all these things?
Yeah, George.
In our room.
In a room, but thank God for cloud storage now, that we are able to put a lot of these things in the cloud.
Yeah,
but the weather pattern changing so fast, you don't know if in 15 years we will have any cloud.
But the physical one, yes, we have a small room that we, for our net, for our balls.
The city has given us a storeroom. We have a storeroom at Skinner Park where we store
a storeroom,
not a clubhouse. But my dream, and I'm happy you asked the question, my dream is that the great-grandchildren of people like John Allen can walk into a room and run their finger over a plaque with their great-grandfather's name and picture. That is my dream.
For his contribution.
For his Rita Andrews.
Somehow I find
and people like that.
Somehow I find that enough wasn't done, publicly or in San Fernando, to remember a man like John Allen, because I remember John Allen from small, right? Both in football and in Skinner Park, in sports. And you could walk. I don't even think correct me if I'm wrong. Whoever watching it, but I don't even think exactly. I don't even think that in the city hall there's a picture of there might be a picture somewhere in the corner, but the young people in sport need to know who the pioneers were in sports, right? And I always remember this man, John Allen,
and the difficulty that we have, because even a search of John Allen on the internet, you can't find a picture.
Come up with two lines.
You see?
I can't find a picture to say that, you know, I can give.
Listen to some of his affiliations, and this is taken from the program that celebrated the life of John Allen at his death on April 24, 2003, 18 years already.
Yeah.
Affiliations: netball, basketball, table tennis, lawn tennis, football, cricket, volleyball, and many more.
Yeah.
He was involved in everything. He was a man for all seasons.
I said when you go into Skinner Park, at any given sport, you will see John Allen. But people more associate him with football, right? But actually, he was involved in all sports.
Very involved in all sports.
I know we have to take our final break. When we come back, I want to talk about some of the players who passed through your club, who went on and, you know, greater success. So the young ones who viewing the program will have a name that they maybe can put this name on a little paper and stick it up in your room and say, I want to be like this.
Yes.
You know? Viewers, will be right back after the short break. Welcome back, viewers. Welcome back to Scoreboard on ACTN. If you missed any part of this program, remember tomorrow there's a repeat at 1 p.m. and also on Saturday. Andrea,
Yes.
I know that you wanted to share something with us, so go ahead.
Okay. Pat, you know, we are focusing, yes, a lot on getting the young ones back involved in tennis. But I don't want us to forget the adults or the ones who would find that, you know what, is it too old for me to come and play, to start to learn the game? I remember learning the game in my university years by just walking on the court, and someone with enough kindness say, come, hit. And they recognize I had good hand and eye coordination and say, oh, you have a Serena on the court or Venus on the court. I was like, yeah. And coming out day after day and, you know, just playing with the ones that are willing to play with you, because sometimes you would find those that, you know, oh God, you're not your skill level.
Yes,
but, yeah, but we don't want you to be afraid of that. We are also encouraging you all to come out as well and to let tennis grow on you so that you can be able to play at a club level, at a recreational level. And we have a lot of inter-club activities as well. So that's the whole thing that we're looking forward to, you know, starting to tour locally. You know, Pat will tell you about our tour regionally as the club with relationship with Paragon Tennis Club for over, but the same 60, less than 60, almost 60 years in Barbados. Okay. You know, so he could speak a little bit more about that, but that is what we're looking at, you know, getting you to come, start to learn to play, and then we play our own intra-club. You find out where your skill level at. We get people to play against you. We have our own internal ranking, and then we move to the inter-clubs. Because there are many other tennis clubs in Trinidad, you know, so that we'll be able to tour locally. And then we're looking forward to touring regionally, to starting back to go to Barbados, possibly St. Vincent, you know, Cynthia Craigwell.
So you all do a lot of traveling?
Yes, as a club, you know, just like you'll have a hiking, you know, you travel out of, you know, Trinidad. But that is what we're looking forward to. So I want to encourage those who want to learn about tennis and stuff, just drop us a line at our email address, sftclub2020, or find us on Facebook, SFTC, you know, San Fernando Tennis Club, and drop us a line and we will get back to you. Okay. So perhaps, Pat, you could talk about
your many travels and the relationship.
Well, quite interestingly, in doing the research or trying to unearth the information, I wouldn't call it research, regarding the club's history, we discovered that in the very year that the club was formed, former Canon Nolly Clark of the Anglican Church had a brother who played tennis at the park and who worked in Barbados. And he established a relationship back then with Paragon Tennis Club of Barbados. Okay. And over the 60 years, we have had these highly competitive exchange visits between Paragon Tennis Club of Barbados and the San Fernando Tennis Club. Of course, sometimes we have won, sometimes we have lost. But that is a rich relationship. And therefore, as part of our 60th anniversary celebrations, we have embraced Paragon as almost a partner in the project. Okay. Yes, we separated by distance and water and all that, but thank God for electronics. We are in touch with them. They send us photos from their archives. We have shared ours with them. And we hope that they'll be a big part of our magazine that we will publish in August. You know? So that is the history. As Andrea said, we are thinking about post-COVID probably taking our club to other islands apart from Barbados. But that Barbados Paragon relationship is an established, almost a brotherhood, a tennis brotherhood that has been going on.
When you all celebrated the 60 years, 2020?
This year.
This year, 2021.
In August.
Yeah,
in August of 2021.
Should restrictions be lifted? What, besides the magazine or whatever it is, what plans are you all, or if there are plans to have a celebration or an event or something to mark the anniversary?
We have already alerted our members that if the COVID restrictions are not lifted, we'll have a gala event at home. You would put on your tux, you would stay at home with your wife and children, bring out a bottle of wine, and we'll have a virtual gala.
Right.
Our hope is that the restrictions are lifted.
Yes, and if how are you going to do that?
If the restrictions are lifted, and given the short time frame between the lifting and the anniversary, we may not be able to do something in August, but we may have to push it to November, December, and really have a gala public event that celebrates the 60 years. But more than celebrating the 60 years, for us is acknowledging those persons who went before us, the people who laid the groundwork for the inheritance that we are enjoying today. That is our focus, really acknowledging these people and ensuring that they have a place in the annals of the history of tennis in Trinidad and Tobago, that they are recognized, they are acknowledged, they are recorded, that as you said, that if you go into City Hall, you can thumb through a SFTC magazine and see those persons who went before us. It's not about us. Somebody will take care of us. We have a duty to take care of those who have gone before us and to look ahead to the persons who are following us. Hopefully, if that baton is passed, those who follow us will take care of us. It is not about us, it's about them.
And another way that we're going to plan to do that is that we're going to have the intra-club competition. And within this competition, we're going to have a format whereby we are going to recognize the ones that are gone before us by, setting up their teams in their names, giving them some sort of honor, some, like, for example, the John Allen Trophy, something like that, so that we have a list of our pioneers, so to speak, and we're going to be celebrating them on the court once the restrictions is lifted with our intra-club competition, tennis competition.
Let's talk a bit about the other members, because I know it's not both of you alone, it's much more. Right, so tell me a bit about the who make up the full membership.
Okay, so our membership so far, we have about 70-something persons active, right? Most of the time, our membership, really come out in full force when we have competition, because, we have a competitive spirit within the club. And so we are spread across, for example, the week. You'll have those who would play, as I indicated before, on the Monday and Wednesdays. We have about at least 10 to 15 of us that would come out on the evening, Monday and Wednesdays. And then Pat has his morning crew. They come out, and they come out on the Tuesdays and Thursdays. And then we have the weekend crew. We have the morning, the Saturday mornings and the Sunday mornings. So we all have, various times. But I think we look forward when we all could meet when it's competition time. all right? And we look forward to it, and that's how we mesh and really have both, tennis and fun, and socialize as, as fun. With COVID, it certainly really put a little pin in the way that we're able to communicate normally, by, for example, you come into the net, you shake hands, or, but now it's just the elbow or the bounce or whatever the case may be. But we're still grateful that we can play our singles and our doubles socially distanced, and encourage the members to really, come out. So.
I want to talk a bit about your founding member, because I'm sure that she might be viewing the program.
yes.
So what can you tell myself and the public about Miss Andrews? What type of person is she?
Well, quite interestingly, my first really sit down and chat encounter was just on Saturday.
Okay.
And it turns out that she has a background in nursing. I don't know if she had reached the level of matron at San Fernando General, but she was professionally a nurse. But she was a consummate tennis club member, going back, of course, to her role in founding the club. She is as alert as ever. A really wonderful person, a genial person. And she has had a history of some great tennis matches with some of her contemporaries. The fact that at 91, she still has all her club records, has her trophies. And I tell you, it would be a joy if you had a chance to sit and chat with her personally.
I will.
I didn't know her. I knew the name Rita Andrews. I met her on the court, but that was just occasional. As I said, the first opportunity I really had to sit and chat with her was on Saturday gone. And it really was a pleasure talking with her, but really a stalwart. In terms of the players who really took the club to national prominence, we had names like Anthony Smith, still alive. Anthony Coriat was probably a junior champion at the club. We had Trevor Dyer, a former club champion. We had Caesar.
Gregory Caesar.
Gregory Caesar. His son now plays, but Gregory Caesar is deceased, but Gregory Caesar was a club champion. The former mayor, Gerard Ferreira, he was always a friend of the club, but he didn't belong to the club. But he went on to win men's doubles at the Promenade Tennis Club, which is located outside San Fernando General Hospital. Those three clay courts on your way to the bowl, to Naparima Bowl.
Yes.
There are three clay courts.
That's a promenade.
That's Promenade Tennis Club.
Yeah.
Right.
That is still in operation?
Yes.
It's a kind of private club, but it's still functioning.
But they're members. They're also members of the club, Mr. Harry and Dexter Mahis.
Okay.
Yeah, Harry and Dexter Mahis, father, son. I don't think there are many father-son playing combinations in tennis in Trinidad.
Yeah.
But that father-son combination has been excellent over the years. Then we had, I don't know if you remember Owen Hines of the trade union movement.
On Sutton Street or Rodford Street.
Rushford Street, Lower Rushford Street.
Yeah.
Well, his two sons are members of the club.
Okay.
Yeah, the Hines brothers.
Okay.
Did we forget Sheila, Miss Wiggins?
No, Sheila Wiggins, of course.
That was a big name in tennis, eh?
Big name.
And table tennis, too, I think.
And table tennis. Sheila Wiggins, now deceased. But really one of the dominant club players. We had, I mentioned earlier, Lennox Francis, who went on to national prominence.
Coaching too,
Coaching.
One of our best.
You already need a clubhouse, because I mean all these names you call in. You're supposed
they
to
should have a place where they can reside.
And you walk in,
and enjoy the
that's part of the vision.
And enjoy the experience, and we don't blame anybody for it, but we are prepared to undertake the work to correct it, you know, and really ensure that, as I said at the start, that the persons who follow us, who will sit in these chairs to talk about the 75th anniversary of the club, will be people who would have at their fingertips the information that we are now trying to unearth and we are trying to dig up through calls to former players. I mentioned Glenda Morin. We haven't had a chance to talk with her to hear her story. Was she ever a member? Did she play? Was she living in South or living in North and coming South to play? We don't know the answers to that.
So, Miss Morin, if you're listening, contact us.
The numbers on the on the screen. But what about who is the president of the club?
Oh yes, Anthony Cook is the current president.
How long is his term? Do you all have elections?
Right. So the executive's term is a 2-year term.
Okay.
So we would have been installed as an executive in 2020.
Right.
So probably mid-2022, our elections come up again.
And then could you all go back up?
Yeah, there's no restriction in the Constitution.
Because why I ask that, because 2 years really, what can you actually do? You know, because the vision that I'm getting from you all here now, it's not going to...
It can't materialize in 2 years.
No, there's no way.
Yeah, but at the same time, I always tell the story about when people ask me if I'm going to miss something A or B or C, I remind them of the principle of dipping your hand in a bucket of water, pulling it out quickly, and looking at the hole that is left. Right? There's no hole left in the bucket.
No, something fills it.
There's there's no hole left in the bucket. So the leadership we provide now will set the tone for the kind of club we have when we are not there. So there's no need for us to want 3 terms and 4 terms and 5 terms. It's leadership.
But no, why I allude to that is because, you know, your vision and my vision might not always be the same. But we heading towards the same objective. But your vision might take me there quicker and more precise. Right? So why I'm saying that is because in 2 years, you know, let me finish my work. You know, but if there is a constitution, well, I mean, there's nothing you can do about it.
And I am certain, and we are already seeing evidence of it. I am certain that the leadership we provide will unearth the future leaders.
Okay.
Right? If people see the way we do and handle things, when it's their turn, they have a template. They have a path to walk on. So I am not, and we will always be in the background, available to provide advice and counsel and support. Right? Advice without support is no advice at all. Right? So advice and support. So.
Well, as the time is running out, and I said, so Andrew, I'm going to give you 10 seconds to give me some parting words.
Okay. So to our members, to our well-wishers, we really want you to support the club and our serving another 60 years into the future. Right? We have our virtual bingo coming up. We have our intra-club competition coming up. So we're looking forward to your generosity and support.
You have 5 seconds.
5 seconds. Just to promote our Youth Development Foundation, which has as its first project our summer camp. COVID restrictions being the variable here. But I really wish to thank you and ActnTV for the opportunity to tell the SFTC story. Thank you so much.
Thank you again, and all the best in your upcoming projects, and I'm going to keep in contact with you and call me anytime. Viewers, we have run out of time. Remember, there's a repeat tomorrow at 1 and also on Saturday. And catch me next week, Tuesday, same time, same channel. Be blessed and stay focused and stay safe.